Hi guys, I was asked by a viewer recently about the parallels between the FE function and the TE function, particularly in the context of this distinction that I drew recently at a conceptual level, but also at a descriptive and behavioral level between two modes of FEUs. I should add two modes of FEUs which may be perfectly non-pathological, namely introjective FE and projective FE. You know that FE is a function that is an intersubjective function, it's a social function. FE is a function that has to do with values, norms, and organization. And depending on what mode of FE you're channeling, you may be more in the projective mode or more in an introjective mode. The projective mode is where you indeed impose or at least project your own sense of the norms, organization, principles, and so on onto the group. Introjective FE is when you're more passive instead of proactive, and you identify with and absorb the norms, rules, and modes of organization of the group. So there is this distinction, and I think it's crucial to understanding, for example, the difference between an average INFJ who tends to be very projective, more rarely introjective, although that exists, an ESFJ who is mostly projective but more introjective than an ENFJ on average, and then introverted users of the FE function that tend to be more introjective and more occasionally projective. I also said that for an INFJ to go into a healthy mode of projection of FE, that is, not projection as such, usually the NI worldview of the INFJ needs to be very developed and trusted, and the INFJ needs to feel like they got their NI right. Okay, so I made those points. Now, when it comes to TE, it's an interesting question because there's always going to be a temptation to say, yes, the two functions of introverted judgments, although they are qualitatively different insofar as they are functions of introverted judgment, of extroverted judgment, they are going to be symmetrical. So if FE is about organization, social organization, well, TE is going to be about non-social organization, something like that, right? If FE is then possibly used projectively or introjectively, then we're tempted to think that TE must also be used projectively or introjectively. So I'm thinking out loud. It's only been something I've been thinking about for a couple of days, and I saw some of the comments and reactions to the comment itself on my previous video, which were insightful. What I would say is, at a first approximation, I would respond that yes, it seems intuitive to think that there is a mode of projective TE and a mode of introjective TE, in the sense that we seem to be quite easily, we seem to be instinctively able to tell apart an ENTJ aggressively imposing their understanding and version of rule, again, non-social norms and principles and so on onto a particular organization, a particular system, and perhaps more introverted TE users who, on average, again, there is always going to be exceptions or smaller sections that are more projective, but you could imagine that ISTJs, for example, just thinking of ISTJs because they seem the most obvious example, we tend to more so introject, norms and principles of non-social sort of formal, maybe we could say something like formal organization, right? So there seems to be a clear parallel here. However, there's just one thing that you need to always remember, is that the way in which TE is going to display this is going to be radically different than the way FE is going to display this. So TE is not intersubjective in the same way that FE is intersubjective. So technically speaking, like a projective TE user is going to project outside how they understand a formal system onto another, an external form of organization that is already in existence and that is not defined primarily by its social properties. So here we're not talking about shaping and influencing and determining social norms and principles of a group, but rather of particular structures that are external to groups, even though they might contain groups. And these particular structures respond to what we would define as a mode of projective TE by a high T user. As the kind of flip side of that, if you like, the feedback effect is that introjective TE users will tend to interact with those particular organizations and identify with and introject the formal structures for their own lives and for their own way of exercising executive functions. So that's the main difference I would draw between the two. But at face value, it seems intuitive to think that TE also exists in the mode of projective and introjective. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you like the video, don't forget that I'm a bit of an expert on the INFJ personality. INFJ personality, The Infinite Soul, is my latest book on the INFJ, on how INFJs experience the modern world and how they can find happiness, purpose, and value in this world that is often seen as hostile. So check it out, the link is right below. And if you love the book, I haven't reviewed it yet, please consider dropping a review. I need more reviews on Amazon, helps with the referencing. There's also obviously the prequel, which is the Ecstatic Soul, a deep look at the INFJ mind, INFJ consciousness, what it feels like to be an INFJ, and its manifestations for the meaning of life and for everyday behavior. The link is also below us. And as usual, don't forget that the lifeblood of my channel is my Patreon page, where I get donations that allow me essentially to keep the channel going. So please consider donating every month, $3.50 or more. The minimum is $3.50. I would be immensely grateful. Keeps the channel going, like I said, and you get the opportunity to interact with me, interact with other community members there, and then get access to some bonus content, such as what I will be doing very soon, which is in-depth videos, a bit longer than these ones, where I go really in depth about particular topics from my books and my YouTube videos, more mainstream ones. Okay, so if you're interested, please consider it, and I'll talk to you very soon, guys. Bye-bye.